Okay, well, I'm home again. The long and winding road has led me back to this door. I found home again. Wonderful. Hooray. So I'm back from the library. Um, what a day. You know, I didn't mention this when I was at that library, but my first internet adventure, if you want to call it that, was using something that the library set up called Sailor. Sailor is closing at the end of this month. I read something on their website, sailor.lib.md.us. That's the old kind of domain names that they used to use before they used all the other stuff that you have to memorize today. Because again, what I'll say is the internet was architected a lot more simply in those days. This was the mid-1990s, if even that. The internet was not was not that effort filled to use. You had to know a little bit about a computer, about how to connect. You know, you had the modem, which was the box that you hooked your telephone line into. You had a serial cable. It's not that kind of cereal. It's just the kind that ain't that tasty. It's another kind. You plug that into your computer. And if you're lucky, you had a program that connected to the modem and that let you dial a number that would not connect you to a bunch of websites and graphics and things. You would connect to something that asked you what you wanted to do. I'm trying to remember how the login sequence was. What was it? Maybe you had a choice. But anyway, most people would choose the Sailor option. The Gopher is what they called it. You know, like gophers, like the animal gopher. It is not the World Wide Web that you know today. You know, web browsers and using your mouse to click on things and cool things happen on your screen. Hooray! See, computer experience seems to be de-evolving to the point that, you know, it is way too easy to use a computer sometimes. And I hate to say that because, you know, computer companies like to make things as easy as possible to make people as happy as possible. And it usually ends up making people really pissed off because the computer companies don't know how to make it easy in the way that the user expects. The user spends more time trying to learn the easy thing than maybe learning cool ways to do things with a little bit more difficult version of something. So I've got the Oriole here. The Oriole, imagine a world in which you always had to watch TV or ask somebody or go to a ball game to know what the score was, or or pick up a newspaper. Think about that. That was the old days. Today, what do you see? You get all that for free. If you have the Google or the Apple or whatever that silly name that you interface with every day to do your internet things, it's just more stuff on the infinite scroll. Have you done that on your portable computer? That's what these things are. Don't let them trick you into thinking these are telephones or phony things. You're holding in your hand or sitting at probably a computer or something hooked to it. That's also a bad thing. That's also a good thing. Have you ever done the infinite scroll? Is life an infinite scroll? No, it isn't. Why? If you were to walk down a street and kind of judge what you see on that infinite scroll, would it even match up with your perception of your reality, your everyday life? You know, the news systems that they make, Google News is the one I'm calling out here because it's very, You know, I'm glad they want to show me the sports scores even though I don't want to know them. Well, thanks for ruining the game, guys. Or gals. I don't know who writes this stuff. Do you? Used to know the names of half the people at the Baltimore Sun just by reading the paper. The other half are the ones that probably print the thing. The other half are the ones that deliver it that don't get to be on the payroll because of union or licensing deals or something. I think the name Schmuck comes to mind. I don't know. This was actually, it was a writer named Peter Schmuck. But, you know, you'd see, I think Michael Olesker used to be there. He used to do some things. You know, personalities on the internet. You don't get those anymore by reading news and things on a computer. You know, it used to be the guy would write his signature and it would show up at the bottom of the screen. I'm Michael Olesker. Maybe. How do I know that? Think about that. Next time you see somebody's name on a computer article, remember, anyone could have put that there. They have things today that can make videos that people say things that they've never said. You see them on the screen. It's them, but they're saying different things. Somebody did that with the whatever that Facebook guy is. I think he's really pissed off at that. I don't know. I wouldn't be actually, because I'd say, well, you want to hear something? Maybe meet me in real life, or watch a video on my whatever the fancy app of the week is. I don't know. See, that's the problem. Television. Don't abbreviate things all the time. It makes sense to say television. Why? Because what would the abbreviation for radio be? Oh, I'm going to listen to the to the AM. I'll listen to the FM. What's on the FM today, huh? No, what's on radio? And you wait for it to warm up and maybe give you some noise out of the thing, much like Microsoft Windows sometimes. But think about that. The infinite scroll. How does that ruin things? You always say that you should be patient for things, and I'm not talking about hospital patients. I mean, you scroll. Oh, stuff. Oh. That is a very detrimental thing to how people perceive society. That's my just a guess. You might have a different opinion. I hope so. I'd like to hear your opinion. Let's talk. They used to have point and counterpoint, where people wouldn't point at each other, but they would have points and counterpoints to do things. They wouldn't count, but I don't know. I don't name the things. But we had 2, 11, 13, 22, 45, and 54, and 67. 22 and 67 were the same thing, except they had the cities backwards, and we usually had to watch the other one. That's Maryland Public Television has like a trillion stations, and they added like a trillion more with the. Now they have decimal points in the HDTV numbers. They made it so complicated. Nobody watches TV anymore that I know of. People just don't care about the complexity, but if you can get a complex thing in an easy form in front of somebody, I think they'd like it. I don't know. Just a guess. Used to be Captain Chesapeake. I mentioned Michael Lesker. That's a different personality. Michael Lesker's a commentary guy. There was, ahoy, crew members, welcome aboard. It's like, hooray, cartoons. It's like the king of cartoons before the king of cartoons was cool. Captain Chesapeake was, it's just one of those things you'd always see at my mom's house. And she would always have that old Zenith television on. You'd be watching that. And, I'd have my hour or two to do that if I was lucky, after school sometimes, or, summer vacation or whatever. But, she'd watch her soap operas that I wouldn't really get into. But TV, television is something that, there was a gentleman named Brandon Tartikoff in the NBC Corporation who changed a last place network into something that was first place. How do you do it? He made an ad campaign. Be there. In hindsight, would you want to be anywhere near the shows that they put on NBC? I don't know. I don't even know what's on. I don't know if I ever want to turn the TV on. I don't even know how to do it. What next? I don't know. It's complicated. So I'll just do whatever else I can do. But, you got to be there. You'll feel free there. Maybe. TV is an escape from, whatever life throws at you. But, the sitcoms and the comedies and things that we had in the 1980s were a lot more, maybe, say, trending positive. This was during the Reagan era. Morning Again in America, that's Hal Riney. Maybe you remember that ad. It's Morning Again in America. Oh, wonderful. But it was nighttime usually when they aired it, I'm pretty sure of that. But it gave you something good to look forward to for the next day. Why would we ever want to return to where we were 4 short years ago? It's a question. It's a question that people asked each other. Reagan went on to be reelected with one state that didn't get the message, I guess. Look at that election. That's very interesting to me. Dun, 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 dun. But there were also the scare ads from that same person. There's a bear in the woods. What about it? I don't know. There's a lot of bears out there, buddy. What do you want me to tell you? So, television gave us something to talk about at the water cooler. It gave us something to talk about in whenever we weren't doing everything else in life. Today, though, it's mostly throwaway, trashy pop culture movies that really suck. Nobody's going to the cinema because nobody cares. You know, the art has been taken out of everything that used to be cool in the 80s and 90s. Why? It's cheap to do it with a computer. That camera shouldn't do that when I'm wow. This is really Star Trek territory. I don't know. Yeah, but think about that. The one thing they did get right with these newer phones is that you get the emergency broadcast system that makes the cool sound. I think it's the new sound, or is it the old sound? They changed it from the to the. I don't know, but I think it's actually the old sound. Oh, jeez. Well, you know when they're throwing new emergency alert sounds at you that you might hear and might even not know what the heck it is, that maybe it's time to really think about standardizing things. But, we do get announcements on the screen every now and then that say, there's a flash flood warning. There's somebody with a car that we're looking for. There's somebody, this is a test of the emergency alert system. We just thought we'd tell you that. Oh, thanks. Oh, thanks, yeah. But, Cheers used to be the place where everybody knew your name, right? No, it was actually your home. Not NBC, not Cheers. I'm talking about your home. I would like to think everyone knew your name. Dad knew my name. Mom knew my name when she was there. She passed away, but, I don't remember if I knew her name while she was alive. I was very young when she passed away. I don't know what the heck I was saying during those days. But I did learn a lot that, she liked watching the Smurfs with me. A friend of the family used to draw beautiful Smurfs kind of on poster board. She was the artistic one. She married in those days to my father's best friend. And, there are things in culture that, if there's a void that there's nothing there, or there's only negativity that you see out on the street maybe, or that is in your life that just won't go away without, something coming to a boiling point. Well, what happened? Where did all the entertainers go? I don't know. They're probably on reruns. They're probably on whatever 800 trillion channels you can find on the cable box or on the satellite or whatever, on the Netflix, on the Hulu, or whatever stupid app they've come up with this week to partition things up into more incomprehensible pieces. Do you understand? What happened? It's like Baltimore's fun enough to walk around and do things, but you want to come home and see something that ain't your cell phone on a cell phone screen complaining about how local TV just happened to maybe sell one too many infomercials instead of doing what it should have done, which is more original programming like Oprah and Richard Scher. And like a lot of other people who aren't on television or aren't really doing what they used to. I think we need people that are in that same category to maybe be as interesting to say that maybe people should be talking again. They don't usually. People aren't talking. That was the show back then. Richard Scher and Oprah Winfrey, people are talking on WJZ. It used to be Coffee With. That was Don Scott, Marty Bass. Mornings on WJZ. I keep mentioning that. Dad always watched that. I'd come downstairs. They always have Manic Monday. They'd have people in the community. They take the man on the street thing where they take the camera out there. They have the cameraman, I'm sure, doing stuff to get cool angles and stuff. That's what I like. I like kind of playing with the camera to do interesting things. Oh, this rail's going to fall off of me here. But, those are in days past. If you're younger than I am, I'm 40 years old, so chances are probably are. If not, happy birthday maybe. But artists and those who aspire to be original artists, we have to deal on social networking today. We don't have to. Remember that. You don't have to do anything on social networking or the internet. Now maybe I'm more silent than not on the internet because come on. Yeah. A lot of great people on there. Just they're maybe stuck in a loop of seeing other people's ingenuity and saying that, oh well, they've maybe said something I want to say, so I'll just hit the forward button. Oh, there's another one of those things that I'm scrolling on the infinite scroll that, oh, here's a billion quotes from people that I will probably never meet or who do not have attribution on their quotes, so I don't even know who said it. But it's all about what you want to relay in the retweet or the forward, right? Isn't that what it is, Doug? No. I want to hear what you say. If you type it in with your name on there, that's something I would say, you know what? That has the full backing of whatever your name is, and I'd like to maybe contact you and talk about it or forward it. Why? Because that's what news people used to do. You know, you're not going to make the news forwarding other people's quotes. And I'm not being a jerk about this. I'm just saying, I like the fact that people want to participate, but forwarding memes, and I know this, I've forwarded my share of memes. I've created my share of memes. I've shared my share of memes. That was, gosh, wow. Yeah. But what it is if something's interesting, it does that next hop. If you're lucky, it goes all over the country, maybe all over the world. It used to be America's Funniest Home Videos did that. Now it's just a bunch of, Simpsons quote just came to mind. And now you can just go there. And now you can just go back to being you instead of a one-dimensional character with a silly catchphrase. Lisa Simpson said that. No, she didn't. Yardley Smith said that. And she attributed the quote to Lisa Simpson, is what I heard. I don't know who wrote that. Entertainment Tonight. John Tesh and, who was it? The lady with the legs. She had to insure her legs or something. Was it Mary Hart or something like that? I don't know. So, that's when things became, a lot more about the celebrity instead of the production. And that's what it should be sometimes. You want bigger than life people doing bigger than life things to make people aspire towards what they do. And those lifestyles, maybe, not everyone can do that. But there is such a breadth of people that are not represented. I'm no expert, but I like Scotty from Star Trek. He passed away. I think Captain Picard's a lot better than Captain Kirk, but Captain Kirk's, in hindsight, I'm watching the original series again. And the movies. Watch the movies. Watch number 2 and number 3. But watch the one where they take the Klingon ship and they go back in time to the 1980s, right? Because it's 2019 now. No, they made that movie in the 1980s. They said they were from the 24th century. We're only a few years towards that. So 2019. Look at that movie. They go back in time to San Francisco. Chekhov's looking for nuclear vessels, and we realize that when we see a diverse cast, sometimes what they bring to the screen is a lot more precious than kind of all the other attributes that you might hear in that actor's life. I don't know. I'm not up on all the gossip from the Star Trek back then, but I don't know that writing is really the best path, but directing, I don't even know what those people do. You see all those things scroll by, but the infinite scroll of names, right? Oh. Well, think about that. Nothing's infinite, but, when we're led to believe that we have infinite choice in what we use to do things, we're misled into thinking that we're more effective maybe than we actually are in life. We get led down a path of dependency on a network and a platform maybe that just wants to keep going higher and higher and higher, 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 higher. I don't know. But, whatever you do in life, I'm not trying to be a critic. I'm being a critic of the end result. And the end result that I see of today's internet is that it's nothing like the internet that I logged onto with Sailor. Because Sailor was like an augmented reality version of life. I went out and did everything, and I came home to my huge computer that took a lot of energy to run. Thanks, Dad. And I logged on to something that taught me that, Microsoft stuff is good. But, I downloaded my first Linux distribution called Slackware in, I think, 1995 from Sailor. So that's what I want to say, is going out and doing things in life and then coming home to something that is not real life but is maybe TV that could be a lot better than it is if you know how to make it a lot better than it is. Thank you to sailor.lib.md.us and the Baltimore Library System. I think that might be an Occ Free Library, that might be the Baltimore County Library, for at least coming to a decision that people such as myself who did not, being in school, have any kind of income, that I could connect using what I had, which was a phone line, and not use a username or password to log on to what then was an interesting diversion that helped augment my daily life by letting me keep notes of maybe cool things to do the next day, by downloading guitar tabs for my best friend, by downloading lyrics to songs so I could maybe understand a little bit better, because I don't have the best hearing sometimes when I'm listening to music, and for letting me know that maybe free nets such as nether.net is one of them. I think Grand Rapids Freenet was another one that was on. It was a fun one. And there was Alachua Freenet, and all the Freenets that are out there. You don't have those today because the systems to support those are long in the past. People expect more from a network, and as a result, a lot of the Freenets could not keep up. But Linux is a free operating system. You're going to find that if you're a techie and you're into that kind of thing, like trying to find out how computers work and why things do things, and you're using Mac or Windows or something else, maybe, I can't say Android or iOS because Android does run on Linux. You might not know that, but it runs on a proprietary Linux that is not as flexible as what you would get on your computer. So I'm going off on a little tangent here. I just had to mention that. If it weren't for Sailor, I would have had no way to download Slackware Linux and to have my first experience in writing software for what today is a multi-trillion-dollar network, and that's the internet and the World Wide Web that eventually was built on. It was called the LAMP stack. That's Linux, Apache, MySQL, and PHP. Linux is the operating system that a lot of servers use. Apache is the free web server. They cost absolutely nothing to get, just like Linux. MySQL, if you don't need to use that, you can make a website with just those. That's pretty cool. The database software, if you wanted to start a website that catalogs maybe baseball cards or something, or or recipes or whatever the heck you can put into a computer database, that's fun. You can connect it to a website. But PHP is the language that I learned eventually. That's an easy one. If you want to start with anything, start with that. Mark Zuckerberg started with that, and he made some website where people scroll all day. If you're a PHP developer, you know why you don't want to end up scrolling all day. Oh, I'm sorry, mouse wheel. Through a document of PHP, trying to track down some silly thing that, Programmers, please think of that. If you wouldn't infinite scroll through your code, don't force people to infinite scroll through all your things. But, there's chance for improvement in everything. The internet was what it was with Sailor and things like that. That's kind of leapfrog today into something where you can watch any video you want. YouTube has almost anything you'd want to watch, and apparently they got copyright rights to all that. Good for them. But, there's always controversy about that. Some say that artists would not profit as much if people didn't know about their music. Others would say that copyright is something that should be honored without question, and that everything should be under lock and key unless the artist is paid. Nobody will ever win that argument because it's too easy to copy and it's too perfect to pay people for doing what they do. I don't know. What the heck, that would be what? If there was an easier way to pay people for what they produce, I think you would see a lot of things that are a lot better than what we have today. There are people who make millions and billions of dollars at companies writing Linux. Linus Torvalds is the man who started the Linux kernel. Again, the kernel is part of the system. He has made a lot of friends. He has very few enemies that I can think of. Now, there's a movie about Mark Zuckerberg you may have seen. It takes like a trillion friends to get from 0 to something in how many seconds? I don't know. But remember that next time you download the next 100 megabyte Facebook app update. It takes a lot of bandwidth that is wasted on cellular networks when people have metered plans to get people really pissed off at developers at certain places. Sailor used in the typical session probably not more than maybe 500 kilobytes of data. The average internet session with Facebook uses probably 20-30 megabytes if I were to guess. So that's, just to say 512 kilobytes, if you're to double that, you get to 1 megabyte. So it's kind of internet terminology, computer terminology. They come up with these fake metrics to kind of explain things that make it more confusing. I don't know. Let's make it a little bit more easier maybe. But I'm on a ramble rant here, but I think, all right, crew members. So if you were on Sailor, I guess I hope they come back to dock before they do anything. Are they just going to sink the ship in the middle of the ocean? It's like, sorry, gophers. It's like, oh, and then that'll be like a Disney film that hasn't happened yet. But you won't see it on the Disney Channel because they bought Fox, didn't they? Not actual Fox. Maybe Disney bought some Foxes. They got the monorail there, don't they? So I'm going to send this on the monorail that does the internet and hope it reaches you. And maybe tomorrow I'll get like a reply or something when the monorail comes back again. Monorail, monorail, monorail. They say that thing's awfully loud. See you soon.